Hello, I am Mike
Hello.
Rose, and this is Gamasutra, and I'm talking to John Ribbins today from Roll7. We previously talked to this crazy man about Ollie Ollie on the PS Vita. Today we're talking about Not a Hero, which I believe is a PC game. Is it coming to other platforms as well? I can't remember that.
PC, Mac, Linux, and then sort of hopefully consoles and stuff if they go well.
Okay, well that sounds cool. So I'm just going to start playing this, and you explain to the lovely viewers what they are witnessing, please.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Right. So, Not a Hero is a 2D side-scrolling cover-based shoot 'em up. It's sort of really violent, but hopefully it's violent kind of with a sense of humour. And it's sort of more, I don't know, it sort of more leans towards a kind of cover-based sort of Kane and Lynch or Gears of War style combat, as opposed to run and gun. I think a lot of sort of 2D shooters tend to be running and gunning, whereas in Not a Hero you've got very limited ammo and your character's super vulnerable.
Just like
so
that,
you've got to be
basically.
quite strategic about what you're going to do. You almost had the cat there.
I wanted to show the cat, the exploding cat, but it didn't walk fast enough. I thought it was going to walk faster.
It has a tendency to just have a little snooze.
Yeah, like regular cats, basically.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, so like, when you guys said that, like, you were, oh my god, I can't believe I've just died twice on the first level. This is awkward. When you guys said you were being published by Devolver, I was a bit like, yeah, that makes sense, because I guess like those guys did Hotline Miami, so this seemed like the next step for them, basically.
It's Hotline Miami and Broforce and now Not a Hero. It's anything 2D and pixely and violent it would appear.
and also, like, when I've been playing this game, it reminds me a lot of the art style anyway. Reminds me a lot of Gunpoint. I mean, have you played Gunpoint?
I played I was on the alpha when it first started, and then I sort of lost track of it until it came out.
Oh yeah.
But was a fan. Was very good. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, because when I was playing this, it was a bit like, okay, so this is basically a violent Gunpoint, which is just exactly what I need, basically. So I mean, when you were sort of putting this game together, were you thinking about, like, from what people can probably tell, this is sort of like all-out violence, kind of cover shoot. Were you trying to sort of implement any sort of stealth into this game, or were you more trying to push away from stealth?
So there was an alpha that we put out in sort of late 2012 of the game, which is a kind of much rougher version, and that was basically it still had the cover stuff, but it was much more like just shooting lots of people. And it's only been kind of this year and coming back to the game, working on it again, that we added the kind of limited ammunition, the need to reload, and the kind of making you super vulnerable when you're reloading.
Yeah.
So you've got this thing of like you kill people a lot easier at close range. Like when you hit that guy because you shot him really close, you're getting critical hits and headshots and stuff, which kills them instantly. Whereas when you're fighting them from long range, it can take 2 or 3 bullets to kill guys. So you've kind of got this thing of it being... That was close. You've got this thing of it being like easier to kill people at close range, but obviously as soon as you hit reload, all of the enemies nearby kind of like charge at you, like those guys are doing there, and try and take you out. And there's nothing you can do while you're reloading, right? You can't move. You've got to finish the reload animation.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got to find this balance between like, have you got enough bullets to take out the guys nearby before you run out of ammo, basically, and get charged down. I guess in terms of stealth, like the characters that are in there at the moment, I think you've got Steve and Cletus and Jesus. Like those guys are all very much based around sort of the shooting side of the game and being in gunfights and shootouts. There are other characters that lean closer towards stealth. There's a character called Ms. Shush, and she's got like a silenced pistol, so like if you stand in like you can see when you fired that shot, the guy in the room on the left there, like you got his attention, right, and he was coming to get you. So there are other characters whose guns don't necessarily alert the other people, so you can be more stealthy, and there's other characters that only have melee weapons as well, so you can be more subtle with them. I don't know if there's necessarily an element of like stealth. There's certainly an element, I guess, of like looking at, like with that floor that you've just jumped down onto there, you could have taken the stairs and come out in the middle, or you could have taken either of the windows and come from the left.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, so when I'm like trying to decide how I'm going to get to I'm sort of the crazy kind of person, so I just like jumping through windows just because there's a window to jump through.
Exactly.
But yeah, I can see, yeah, sometimes especially on like the later levels in this alpha demo, it always seems to make sense to sort of come out in between everybody else, and then maybe even like dart back up onto a higher floor and try and like work your way around them rather than taking a whole bunch of them all head on.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you're wanting to, like with that one that you've done there, like taking that guy out because he's on his own in that room, like you can get an execution there and take him out quicker before you face those other two guys and stuff like that. So there's kind of it's not necessarily stealth, but there's an element of kind of you want to isolate enemies and you kind of want to make sure that you're what am I trying to say? You want to kind of keep, like, the whole point of the game, I think, is you're trying to keep everything under control. You're trying to be in control in these gunfights, and the game is always trying to kind of make you lose control, right? You've got guys charging at you, you'll have people that just sprint you down when you're trying to reload and stuff like that. So you're trying to keep it nice and controlled and not too hectic, and the game does its best to turn it to make those situations more tense and hectic.
Yeah.
Doing a good job.
I mean, what? I was nearly there as well. So I mean, you were just mentioning how you originally kind of, I guess, made, what was it, like a sort of prototype version of this like a couple of years ago? I mean, what made you decide that this is what you wanted to come back to after Ollie Ollie?
So like we built the prototype version in 2012, which was literally like it started off as something completely different. It started off as a game called Jeffrey Archer, which is about an archer called Jeffrey. That sort of joke title only works in the UK. Nobody else knows who Jeffrey Archer is.
Yeah.
But like that was something that was like, it was going to be a randomly generated side-scrolling dungeon crawler with a kind of Angry Birds style physics thing on his bow and arrow. And I'd been playing around with that quite a bit in 2012, and then eventually I just drew a guy with a gun and put that in. And was like, oh, this might be better if it was shooting people instead of using a bow and arrow. And then from there, like weirdly, kind of at that time, I discovered Blackthorn, which is that, like, it's a game Blizzard made. I think it was the same year that their first Warcraft game came out, when it was still an RTS.
Oh, okay.
And like Blackthorn's like this side-scrolling 2D game, but it's got this cover system where you can like pop back into the scene and you get a little bit darker and you can hide.
Okay.
I just thought that was a really cool mechanic, and it's like I haven't really seen it used again in like 2D shooters, like having cover. And it was something I want to play with, so we just started playing with that really. In the initial alpha, and then it was kind of sharing it with people and people playing it and going like, hey, it'd be cool if I had a shotgun, or like, it'd be cool if I could like slide through doors and stuff, and just throwing things together really. And that kind of reached the point where we put an alpha out. I think it was in November 2012. I just put this alpha up for free, or like not even alpha, like prototype, I guess. And it got a little bit of coverage on indie games and PC Gamer, and quite a few downloads and like some YouTube plays and stuff like that. And people seem to have fun with it. So it's something we wanted to work on more. But obviously we'd started on Ollie Ollie, and that was going on, and wanted to give that all of our focus. But it was actually around that time that kind of Devolver were interested in it. But obviously we couldn't start on it until we'd finished Ollie Ollie. So yeah, it's been one of those ones where we've known we're going to work on it, but we've just been waiting to find the time to actually do it.
I actually can't beat this level. I keep getting absolutely destroyed. I should skip to another level, shouldn't I? So I don't keep just showing the same level over and over again. That's going to be really boring. I'll show a different character as well. Let's do Cletus. I totally can't control this guy though.
To give you a little super fact, when we took it to PAX, and I actually did analytics on the game. Like, so it recorded like how many times people died and how many bullets got fired and all this kind of thing. And at PAX there was a 90% fail rate on missions. So like obviously the version you're playing is like, it needs a lot of balance. Like I think probably the game is too hard at the moment.
I don't think it is. Did I just blow that door off the hinges into the guy?
Yeah, yeah.
To
So
me.
like,
I've not seen that before.
so like Cletus can shoot. Like you've noticed that like blows people backwards. If you blow one person back into another person, it will trip them over and you can execute them. But you can also, if a door is shut, you can shoot the door off its hinges and use that to knock people over as well.
Oh, okay. Oh man, yeah, it's kind of crazy how different the characters are to each other. Oh, Cletus, no. Oh man. So
Yeah, I mean that was one
like,
thing I think.
Sorry, no, you go.
I was going to say like, that was one thing we kind of wanted to do was like with the characters having everyone play very differently. Like the idea being, obviously in this version you've got like 3 guys unlocked from the start.
Yeah.
Ideally, we want to make it, you know, so that you're unlocking characters as you go through the game. So as you beat each district, that was awesome.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh
It's
no!
not-
I've got caught in some kind of a loop.
It's not a bug; it's a
Oh, no.
feature. It's a feature.
Oh no!
like,
I'm still alive though. Look at this. Oh! That was incredible.
But yeah, I kind of like the idea that you can, when you unlock Cletus, you can go back and play through the levels again, and you actually have to play them in a very different way with him because he's got less ammo. His slide is not as far. Like you have to kind of think with him. You have to kind of think more about like shooting doors into people, how many people you can knock over in a line and then execute afterwards, and stuff like that becomes more important. Or how many guys you can shoot out of windows because that's just fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. So I mean, in terms of like Roll7, so I mean, you guys are kind of coming off Ollie Ollie, and I'm assuming you're in a fairly decent position now. Especially as well, you're bringing Ollie to PC, right?
Bringing Ollie Ollie to PC and PS3 and PS4.
Excellent. So I mean, how is it? Well, I guess how is it sort of being a successful UK studio in the position where you are, where you know you're a bit like, right, we've had like, you know, we've kind of had our big hit now that has kind of thrown us into the limelight. Where do you go from there, really?
Are you trying to say, is this the difficult second album, Mike?
That's pretty much what I'm trying to say, yeah. Although well, it's not really, is it? Because you know you had games before Ollie Ollie, so it's more like what, the difficult third or fourth.
It's quite interesting. Like, it's obviously there are elements that are kind of similar. Like, it's got a really fast restart and it's punishingly hard at the moment. And I think it's got that kind of like that. Hopefully, got that just one more go kind of vibe to it. But I think the thing is wanting to be doing a very different game. You know, totally different genre. Totally different kind of mechanics and almost like a different approach. Like Ollie Ollie's, it's not a serious game, it's an arcade game, but like, I think there's more, hopefully there's a bit more sort of humour and silliness in Not a Hero. You've done that thing where you're going to get the Predator guy. Oh, but
no,
you killed him.
I killed the invisible guy.
Genius.
Nice. Oh no, oh no. Oh.
If you want to know what I'm talking about with the Predator guy, then you need to go and watch Mike's Twitch playthrough of this.
Yeah, invisible guy coming through the door to kill me.
Yeah.
They're the worst kind of people.
So no, and it's like, I guess like for us it's like interesting at the moment because we're kind of doing a lot of things at once. Like we've got the ports for Ollie Ollie going on. We're just finishing up on the patch for Ollie Ollie for Vita, and then we're doing this, and we've got another secret project that the team is working on that's going to be announced later in the year.
Like the sound of that.
So there's actually a much smaller team of us working on this than there was on Ollie Ollie. There's only 2 of us on Not a Hero at the moment.
Yeah. So what did what kind of position did Ollie Ollie put you in terms of, you know, like the people you had on your team and how many people you've got working on projects?
So the core team that worked on Ollie Ollie from Codeside's been maintained, and obviously they're then working on this other new thing and the ports and so on. And then we've actually brought on a couple more people on art side and on design side for this extra bonus. But that was very snazzy, just jumping in the truck from the window. And then with Not a Hero, it's been like that's sort of more. It was something that I was working on, kind of solo for a long time, So it was this year when we started working on it in earnest that we brought on Jake Hollins, who's an artist. So he's the guy that's turned everything purple and invented ISO slant sort of viewport and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get to see the cat.
There's the cat.
Love an exploding cat. Yeah, which has been great because, I don't know, up until then, Not a Hero kind of played nicely, but didn't necessarily look very nice. Whereas now, if nothing else, it's definitely the pinkest game coming out in 2014.
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah. How many games are there that are pink? Yeah,
exactly.
That's true. I guess that's something to claim, yeah. Definitely something to claim. Right, well, I should probably leave it there, so that I don't embarrass myself any further. So this is coming out later this year, right?
Yes, hopefully.
For the PIC and the Linux and the Muck. And,
yes. Muck, Puck, and Linux.
Excellent. I'm going to leave him just to die there, basically. Right, well, thanks for talking to me, and yeah, keep me up to speed with what is going on with it, because this is very much a game that I am interested in playing to its fullest.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Ribbins.
Thank you too, Mr. Rose.
Bye!
Bye for now.